friends and leaders in the maritime industrial sector. My name is Sam Cho. I do serve as the Commissioner of the Port of Seattle, but today I'm here on behalf of my friend, Gurmai Zalahai, who's running for King County Executive. And obviously I'm here because I believe that Gurmai is the right leader for the moment. He is someone who understands the economic complexities of a region, who appreciates the maritime industry, who understands the need for more workforce development in our region. He's a guy who brings strategic thinking, lived experience to his work, but most importantly, we don't have kids here, right? Most importantly, he gets shit done, all right? And in his short tenure as a King County Council member, he's been able to build 5 behavioral health crisis centers, bring millions of dollars to gun control initiatives. He's been a staunch advocate of workforce housing for the region. There's a reason why the governor, Bob Ferguson, our Attorney General, Nick Brown, every single member of this commission, of the commission that I serve at the Port of Seattle, have endorsed Gurmai Zalahai. There's a reason why Pramila Jayapal, Adam Smith, all the leaders that we all look up to and have voted for at some point have endorsed Gurmai Zalahai. I'm not going to sugarcoat this right now. I think we are all very, very on edge because of the things that we are seeing coming out of Washington, D.C. right now. I know that our industries, our values are under attack right now. And so the reason I'm so bullish on Gurmai is because Gurmai is literally the anti-Trump. He's the son of refugees who came to this country. He attended Stanford University, went to school at Penn. And instead of going into big law and making millions of dollars, he decided to go back and serve his community by starting a nonprofit and then running for King County Executive. He's literally the anti-Trump. And so ask yourselves this. Are you looking for someone who will maintain the status quo as a King County Executive? Or are you looking for bold new leadership who's going to chip away at the challenges that we face for the next 4 years plus? And if your answer is the latter, do not forget, Gurmai is your guy. Thanks so much.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Rago. I am the campaign manager for Claudia Balducci. So as you can probably guess, I am here tonight on behalf of Claudia. Her only child graduated from high school today. So otherwise, yeah, that's right. Otherwise, she would be here, and she sends her regrets that she is not. Claudia is a 25-year-long public servant, and her career has been defined by doing big stuff or shit and taking on big challenges. She's led on the things that matter to us most: economic opportunity, affordable housing, reliable transit, urgent climate action, and protecting our communities. She comes from a family of public servants. This is in her DNA. Her mom was an elementary school teacher, her dad a court officer, and her brother a firefighter in New York City. And she began her career at King County, working as a labor negotiator, worked her way up to run an executive department. She was the mayor of Bellevue, and now 3-term King County council member. If you've heard of Claudia, it's probably because of light rail. I'm gonna guess. Yeah, see you in the back smiling. Yes, it's because of light rail. She brought light rail to East King County over some stiff opposition. You can ride that today and soon across the lake. She's also brought together the public and private sectors to plan for affordable housing. She's built 3,000 homes near light rail and paved the way for 200,000 more through the Regional Affordable Housing Committee that she founded and chairs. And as the mayor of Bellevue, she worked with the mayors of Redmond and Kirkland to deliver the East Side's first suite of homeless shelters, in recognition that this is supporting our unhoused neighbors is on all of us. It's not just here in Seattle. And that leadership extends to education, clean water. You've never met somebody more passionate about wastewater in your entire life than Claudia Balducci, and delivering the second biggest in the nation, second to the National Arts Foundation, investment in arts, culture, science, and heritage this last year. Claudia's vision for King County is one that I think we all agree with, and that's a safe, affordable, and sustainable community. From delivering 44,000 new homes in 5 years to the transit system we've all been waiting for, Claudia's vision is bold, and importantly, with her at the helm, it is achievable. She has over 100 elected leaders behind her. Thank you for the 1 minute. Advocacy organizations like Transportation for Washington, and numerous unions, including child care workers with SEIU 925 and our transit operators with ATU Local 587. I get asked often, isn't working in politics kind of hard and frustrating, especially right now? And the answer is yes, but waking up every day and working for Claudia gives me true hope. She is honest, she is courageous, she does things even when they're politically hard. and she delivers, and her track record speaks for itself. So I hope you'll join me in supporting Claudia. Please feel free to come ask me any questions. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. And I do want to take first off Pacific Fisherman's Yard for hosting our event tonight, giving us a phenomenal venue on a beautiful night that's not raining, to share a little bit more about the candidates that you will have a choice for, not only in August, but more importantly in November. So this is a time where we really have a chance to chart a new course. What we've seen through other candidates with their initiatives, we've seen homeless be the target issue, but the execution of how we are doing that, we need to do a better job reprioritizing our budgets so that we're actually appropriating the right amount of funds to support our community. And again, congregate shelters would be my proposition for that. I think building the single unit apartments is a very expensive and a unmanageable long-term project. So this is something that we want to reinvigorate our communities and allow people to feel included. That's the one strength that I bring. I ran for Congress in
What's your name?
Derek Chartrand. Thank you for asking that, and I'm sorry for not introducing myself. Derek Chartrand. I ran for Congress in 2020, 2022, and 2024 against Suzanne Delbene. We have an opportunity here to elect somebody local, somebody that remembers what it's like when they were 6 years old to go to Benihana's in downtown Seattle. And when we're waiting for that table, waiting for that opportunity to fellowship with our family, we could walk up the street a block and a half to Freeway Park. We could go there, my brother and I, and just enjoy being kids in Seattle. You know, my father had a boat. We come through here a lot, Shoal Q32. And that brings back to what we need to do together. We need to listen to each other, regardless of our party's affiliation, regardless of our proclivities. We need to learn, not just listen, but learn from what is being shared. And then through that, we're able to then lead together and collectively with a vision that truly incorporates all of us. So I've expanded my tent over my campaigns, and that's essential for our leaders to not alienate, but to stand on their firm beliefs. So crime is something we need to address in Seattle and King County. It's rampant right now. We've also got homeless, and then also the taxes. You know, we do not have the ability with King County right now with the budget shortfall to be flippant with our spending. We need a fiscal conservative. We need somebody that's focused on serving you. I've got a saying, which is, together, we can make a difference. So from labor to retail, I would love to have your support. Thank you very much, and have a great week.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming out today. My name is Jordan Royer, and I'm with the Pacific Merchant Shipping Association, also with the Washington Maritime Federation and the Manufacturing Maritime Industrial Association. All those different co-sponsors of this event, you'd think I would have done more, but I didn't. Hi, Rachel. And any other candidates for position 8 who are here that we missed? You'd like to come up? Nope. The floor is yours, Rachel.
All right. Tall guy. All right, my name's Rachel Savage. I'm running for City Council position 8. And I am a business owner in Seattle. So I've had a business on Capitol Hill for over 25 years. And I have experienced, unfortunately, I have suffered the results of the lack of law enforcement in our city, of the fentanyl and methamphetamine epidemic that has descended upon our city, and the lack of treatment, appropriate treatment for addicts. So I'm all about business. I want to see business flourish in Seattle, big business and small business. I think the only way that that can happen is if the city's safe, number one.
So I am pro law enforcement. In fact, I am going to be the representative for the Seattle Police Department on the City Council. I'm endorsed by SPOG, Seattle Police Guild. Woo! Come on, let's give it up for SPOG, our brave first responders. And what I see, the fentanyl epidemic, the crime associated with addiction, we can solve this. We can solve this. Instead of housing first, I propose treatment first. So first off, treatment first. Let's give these addicts a chance. So what I'm seeing right now is not compassionate. Allowing addicts, late stage addicts, fentanyl addicts, methamphetamine addicts to die on our streets and in city sponsored housing that guess who's paying for?
Us.
You guys. Vote me into city council, that's gonna stop. Here's how we're gonna fix it. Number one, arrest addicts for public drug use and the crimes associated with it. Seattle needs an intervention, and this, I believe, is compassionate. Then we need to charge these addicts with a crime, or criminals, people that are committing crime, and give them a place to have appropriate housing. So my plan is they get the choice: 364 days in jail or 364 days in a long-term residential treatment program. Yeah, that's right. Let's give these addicts a chance. Let's give them a chance at a life worth living, as well as a severely mentally ill. How many of you saw a late-stage addict suffering on the streets on your way here today?
Wow.
Come on, raise your hand. Let's be honest. Yeah, so we can help them. Vote me on the city council. We will restore law enforcement. We will give long-term treatment for addicts, and we are going to see business come back in Seattle. One last note, it's not going to cost you any more money. We're going to spend the money we have. No new taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Works. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Hello, everyone. This has got to be one of the funnest events of the whole season. I am Sarah Nelson. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a 35-year Seattle resident, a lifelong Democrat, wife, mother, small business owner. Not just any small business, it's a manufacturing business, so I feel your pain. And I'm running for re-election to city council. I ran 4 years ago because I saw our city it was in need of recovery. Think back to that time. Homelessness, crime, overdoses were on the rise with no end in sight, and I thought that the perspective of a small business owner could do some good on city council. Someone who knows that your cost should not exceed your revenue, and someone who really values the small, medium, and large businesses in this city, in all sectors, who contribute to our tax base, but more importantly, make this city the vibrant, fun city that it is. And I am here to support you. That's why I wanted to be Economic Development Chair. And I was all ready to help with all these economic development issues, but what I found out was that every single business I talked to, their biggest concern was public safety. And so I shifted my focus to public safety, and I am proud to say that this council has really turned the needle on public safety. We have reversed the trend of losing more officers than we can hire. That happened at the end of last year. Hiring is now up 500% as of the end of the first quarter. So we're moving in the right direction on that front. But there's still much more to be done. I am looking at some of the things that will be coming up shortly. You know, I did say that the city is in need of recovery, but as a person in recovery myself, I have led the charge to expand access to on-demand comprehensive addiction treatment. Why? Because number one, everyone deserves the same chance at recovery that I had. But number two, addiction is inextricably linked to our public safety and our chronic homelessness crises, and until we start focusing more on that, we're not going to move the needle on those other things. So my point is, right, thank you. My point is that this council has moved the needle on public safety. Encampments are down, crime is down, car theft is down, response times are down, but there is still a long way to go. And this progress is fragile, it really is. Trump's administration is increasing the tensions in the area, and it's catalyzing a trend to return to the failed policies of the past. And I'm not going to let that happen. This race has serious consequences, and I believe that the best resistance to Trump is a well-run city, and that means a focus on basic services, housing affordability and homelessness, all of those things we have to keep doing. So I'll just simply end here in saying that although progress is frustratingly slow, we are making a difference, and we have to keep up the momentum. That's why I'm running, because the last thing we should do is go backwards. So come and talk to me anytime, and thank you very much for your support. Grab a yard sign.
Thank you, Sarah. And next we have Dion Foster to say a few words to everybody.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me. My name is Dion Foster, and I am absolutely pleased to be running for Seattle City Council Position 9 to represent all of us. I am a mom, I'm a former city policy advisor, I've worked for a mayor and the CEO of the public utility. I'm also a former nonprofit executive, and I live in South Seattle. And you might hear all that and think, what the hell does she know about the shipyard? And I want to tell you what I know. My great-grandfather was a waterman, and he raised his family on good living wages from working on the water. That's right, because it's important to have jobs that we can provide for our families from. 5 kids on those wages. My cousin worked at the shipyard. That's how she bought her first house. A great place for a woman to work and to earn a living and to earn economic stability. And I believe so deeply that when we have those kinds of investments, we have great places like this, that we can build thriving economies that work for all of us. We can clap for that. I am so clear that the industrial areas are so important for our city, and that they need, that's right, and that we need to protect our industrial areas. I've been so clear that they are precious places for economic development, for manufacturing, for shipping, not just for this area, not just for Seattle, but for our whole state, right? To make sure that businesses can thrive, that workers can thrive, and that we shouldn't sell people down the river and go back on deals on our industrial lands. I believe that this can be a city that works for all of us. And I will tell you firsthand, I'm a mom. I am raising my 12-year-old in this city. I care deeply about public safety. I want my kid to be able to catch the bus. I want him to be able to walk to school. And I want him to be able to stay in this city, and I want it to be affordable for him. I don't want him to get priced out, right? We need to be working hand in glove to make sure that we are building affordable housing, that we are building abundant housing, and there are many, many places that housing should go in this city, but we should not be encroaching on our industrial lands for it. I'm incredibly proud to be endorsed by these guys over here, ILWU, Port Commissioner Toshika Hasegawa, Toshika Hasegawa, Brian Calkins, and Fred Fellman. And if you elect me to City Council, I will be a voice for all of us. I will fight to deliver affordable housing, I will fight to deliver public safety, and I will fight to make sure that we have a future where all of our families can thrive. Thank you so much for having me.
Rouse? Did I say it right? Is it Rouse or Rouse?
You got it right, yeah.
All right.
Come on up, David. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for the opportunity to come and introduce myself to y'all. I'm Nathan Rouse. I'm running for city attorney here in Seattle, and I've lived in Seattle since 2006. I lived in Ballard in 2008 to about 2011, and that sign right there, the Viking, why is Ballard the best place ever? I used to go to that place when I was living up on 24th, decades ago it feels like. So it's great to be back here. I started out my career as an attorney in private practice. I worked for a law firm called Davis Wright Tremaine, and I worked there for about 5 years, and I also worked for federal judges. So all in all, I had about 7 years of experience as a federal litigator. But let me tell you why I became a public defender, because that's what I do now. I'm a public defender in King County. I left private practice because I had the opportunity to do pro bono work for a young man who was sentenced at the age of 18 to 76 years in prison for being an accomplice to a shooting where the shooters got 36 years. That's really, really, really wrong and completely unjust, and working for him and getting that sentence reversed by the Washington State Supreme Court was life-changing for me, and it motivated me to devote my career to public defense. So that's what I've been doing ever since. I am running for this race because of what I've seen as a public defender. What I've seen from being in the jails day in and day out, from being in courtrooms, from meeting with my clients at my offices, I see a criminal legal system that is failing. It is failing in every way we can imagine. Now, I've heard some mention about treatment in the context of criminal cases. Absolutely. We need to leverage treatment services, addiction support, mental health services, housing. But here's the thing. When treatment succeeds in the context of a criminal case, it is not because of the prosecution part. There is no evidence to show that government coercion increases someone's prognosis in treatment. It's because someone offered meaningful, compassionate services that met somebody's needs. Not because of the threat of jail. It's just not. There's no evidence to support that. So what does that mean in the context of the city attorney's race? As the city attorney, we can rely more on pre-filing diversion programs that are far less costly than prosecution. It is so much cheaper to use that type of program to leverage those services. You can do all the things that you do in the context of a criminal case with support services without ever filing a case. That is not to say that we shouldn't do something. We need to act because the status quo is unacceptable. We need to act in response to the addiction crisis and the public street disorder that we see in places like downtown Seattle. But we need to do it in an evidence-based way that is cost-effective. And we need to bring also, meanwhile, enact a more robust victims' compensation fund for property owners, so that when windows are broken, those are paid for. When they're shoplifting, that is reimbursed by the city, because people, small businesses are struggling. We need to do something about that in the meantime. So thank you so much. My time's up. I'm going to stop talking. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all again. Nathan Rouse, the city attorney.
Before I introduce the next candidate, just wanted to make note of a vessel that was built here that maybe you've all heard of. It's called the Calypso. Built during World War II. And with that, I get to introduce Erica Evans.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. You can talk back to me.
Good afternoon.
My name is Erica Evans, and I'm running to be your next Seattle City Attorney. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me. My family's roots here run deep. My grandmother moved out here in the 70s. My dad went to public school at Ingram. But even deeper than our roots here in the city are my family's roots in fighting for civil rights. My grandfather was an Olympic gold medalist way before all you were born, way too young to remember, but in the 1968 Olympic Games. And he used his platform, an international platform, to raise his fist to protest the racial injustice and human and economic indignities of this country. And those are things that run through my DNA, always fighting back and always standing up. Growing up here in the Pacific Northwest, we grew up poor. We moved multiple times, 8 times before I was 12. And it was through good union jobs that helped my family get out of poverty and thrive. My mom was the only female carpenter that helped build the I-90 floating bridge. My dad, so we can clap for that, thank you. My dad is a current bus driver. When we think about protecting our workers, that is something that I'm a product of. It's why I became a lawyer. It's why I'm the only candidate in this race that's only worked in public service my entire career as a lawyer. I've actually worked in the office, the Seattle City Attorney's Office. I've worked in the office that I'm running for in both of its divisions. I worked in its criminal division. I worked as a defense attorney in its civil division. Most recently, I served as an assistant United States attorney, where I had essentially two roles. One was being a civil rights prosecutor, and the other one was being a terrorism and violent crimes prosecutor. So when we talk about public safety, this is the work I've been doing my entire career. That's right, you hear the beeping? We're not doing well in public safety, and that's a problem. I agree with Nathan that we need to be smarter in how we are approaching these problems in our city. Because crimes that affect public safety the most in that office, that are misdemeanors, such as domestic violence and DUIs, those cases are currently taking way longer to charge than they used to. And that's not public safety, and that's not serving our community. My name is Erica Evans, and I would love your support, and I just thank you all for being here. And I'm honored to have the endorsement of our Sailors Union Pacific. Yes, we can clap for that, that's right, thank you. The sole endorsement of our Washington State Attorney General, Nick Brown. Yes, King County Councilmember Gurmai Zahalai, Port Commissioner Sam Cho, Ryan Calkins, and 100 other elected officials and community leaders and labor unions, because they know this is the campaign to support, because we're going to protect our workers, we're going to do better on public safety, and we're going to be smart about it. Erica Evans, Seattle City Attorney, thank you all so much.
Erica, I like how you walk out front. I kind of feel safe over here behind the pole. Our next candidate for city attorney is Rory O'Sullivan.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for coming out on this day. So again, my name is Rory O'Sullivan. I'm running for Seattle City Attorney. I'm a father, a small business owner, a legal aid attorney, and I have spent my career focusing on programs that help Seattle residents. So I served as the managing attorney of the Housing Justice Project. I was the director of student legal services, and in those programs, I've tried to ensure that we bring services. I've led teams of attorneys to help citizens of Seattle navigate the system that we're dealing with, a homelessness system that has failed so many folks. I've also worked to improve the way Seattle works. So I helped write the initiative that created the Democracy Voucher Program, and I was chair of the organization that passed ranked choice voting in 2022. And what I've found from those experiences is that we can really make progress when we come together as a community. So I marched in the No Kings rally last Saturday, and we saw Seattle come together so strong. 70,000 people out there on the streets protesting Trump. And I'm worried, like everybody else, about Trump trying to federalize the National Guard, bringing military into our streets, and we need to be ready to stop that. Trump is destroying the Constitution. He's tearing apart our administrative state. So I've actually taught constitutional law. I've taught administrative law, and we are going to be ready to take on Trump and make sure that he doesn't destroy our city. We need to be ready, just like the state has been ready, to file lawsuits and to file temporary restraining orders to prevent federalized National Guard from interfering with our right to peacefully protest. I am excited to have received the endorsement of the ILWU Local 19 and a number of elected officials, Senator Saldana, Representative Street, Representative Thomas, and I'm looking forward to earning your support. I look forward to speaking with you. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I hope to have an opportunity to speak to a lot of folks here. Thank you.
Also need to mention that my colleague, Wayne Richards, is here if you're interested in talk to him too. And with that, we'll introduce Ann Davison.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming out. This is, as Sarah said earlier, one of the best venues for events. I grew up in Texas, and so this type of industry is so fascinating to me. If you've met me, you've heard me talk. I'm a scuba diver. I've lived in Seattle for 30 years, and so I really do appreciate being in this location to speak on things that I think and talk about all the time. I am your Seattle City Attorney, and since being elected in 2021, I have led the efforts on making our city safer. And I'm also leading on the efforts on unlawful actions from the federal government, and I intend to use my full force of my office to do so when necessary for unlawful threats to what is happening. I am also the first woman and mom to serve as the Seattle City Attorney. One of my main focuses has been to disrupt and to prioritize human trafficking on Aurora, which disproportionately targets women and girls. I have led the efforts, thank you. It is a serious topic and a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but I am a North Ender and I see it regularly, and as the mother of a son and a daughter, it deserves attention and we have to do the hard work. I have led the efforts to disrupt open-air drug markets that have threatened our neighborhoods and their economic revival. And it really is also important to note that I'm introducing a drug prosecution alternative that will be a pathway for treatment for people as we talk about their engagement in criminal activity at the same time. Thank you. Excuse me, it's been a long day of talking already. Importantly, on gun violence, I have introduced common sense rules for after-hours venues to regulate those spaces to help curb all the late-night shootings that we have had. That legislation passed by City Council 9-0, a unanimous vote in support to help reduce gun violence. And importantly, in addition to that, I have also taken on the fight for consumers and the environment. I have brought home to Seattle the single city largest settlement from the chemical giant Monsanto, $160 million for the chemical dumping that they did in the Duwamish to help protect our environment. And I initiated the lawsuit against Kia and Hyundai. They needlessly exposed consumers to auto theft, putting millions of cars out onto our roadways that we all know were so susceptible to theft, that also encouraged other criminal activities from those auto thefts. To me, that has been significant because it has actually shown that it has reduced auto thefts for our numbers. So it is another strategic way, in addition to what we need from our law enforcement partners. How else can we improve public safety? We can do so with affirmative litigation, and that is what I did with that strategy. And really, when we look about what can we do for public safety, I have proposed most of the public safety legislation that this new City Council has passed. I really am the proven leader for the Seattle City Attorney's Office. I have pragmatic solutions. I am the one to back because I really am the voice of the moderate center. We have to have both approaches. I have doubled my pre-filing diversion. I have brought unprecedented amounts of data transparency to show the public how the criminal justice system works. And this is how we get problem solved. We show our work, we prove it, and then we move forward. Thank you for your support. I'm endorsed by former Governors Locke, Gregoire, Representative Adam Smith, the Seattle firefighters, the Seattle Building Construction Trades Unions, and the majority of City Council. Thank you, Ann Davidson, Neighbors for Ann. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Event. My name is Mike Stewart. I'm Executive Director of the Ballard Alliance, and we are an improvement organization that represents business, property owners, and residents in Ballard, all with the mission of making sure Ballard is a very safe, livable, and thriving community. So we are on our way now to meet a couple of our candidates for mayor. Unfortunately, we do not have the incumbent. We don't have a representative of the incumbent tonight. However, we have two candidates. I'm going to go alphabetical on this, so let's begin with Joe Mallahan. Come on up, and then Katie will close out with you. So please welcome Joe Mallahan.
Hey everybody, it's great to be here. Ballard and the Ship Canal and Fremont are very dear to me. I had two brothers who were fishermen off of boats in Fisherman Terminal. I also have a dear friend who's a native Alaskan who home ports here at Fisherman Terminal. I have a runabout, and I pass through the locks at least a dozen times. I always catch my limit when I'm out crab fishing with my wife. My wife is a wharf rat from Istanbul, and her favorite place in the whole city is the Washington Ship Canal. So it's a great honor to be here. I saw Gene Wasserman earlier. I think he may have left, but Gene took me out 15 years ago on his tugboat and told me and convinced me how important industry is here. I'm a huge supporter of working livable wage jobs, and those jobs come from industries in maritime all the time, and I'm here to support you. The reason I'm running for mayor is because I think I'm the only one who can defeat Bruce Harrell, and I'm the only one with 30 years of change maker management experience. I'm running for mayor because we have great values, but I don't see those values reflected in our streets. The mayor and city in general is letting us down with regard to public safety. We have a dysfunctional and understaffed police department. We're paying $100 million a year in overtime, and our response times, even though they may have improved, are still horrific. I'm sure you can all agree with that. We have thousands of people still on the streets, homeless people, the vast majority of them suffering addiction and mental health problems, and you simply can't treat those people on the street. We need to get far more transitional housing built. The new mayor in Portland got it done in the first 6 months of administration. I'm focused on that as well. I'm a big fan of tiny home villages as a way to get people into stability and then require them to get treatment. I think Seattle is a bit of an enabler. I, in my history with family addiction, have been an enabler myself. I see that it doesn't work. I see what someone with addiction does when left to their own devices in an apartment where they don't have appropriate pressure from relatives or loved ones or from counselors. So that's a big thing for me, is getting people into stable environment and treatment. And then the third thing is affordability. Affordability is crazy. We've got to strip out the red tape. We've got to make it easier for developers to develop. We need to go higher on transit areas. And the other thing is, we need to fix all the affordable housing that we're at risk of losing right now. There's all kinds of affordable housing landlords who simply don't have the means to deal with high renter bad debt and huge inflation and cost. And we have got to get together and figure out how to solve that. I thought I had 4 minutes.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, thanks, guys. Pleasure. Thanks, John.
All right, thank you so much, Joe. All right, for our final candidate, please welcome Katie Wilson. Katie?
Hello. Can you hear me? Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys have been very patient. I know it's a lot to stand here and listen to so many people. So, my name is Katie Wilson, and I'm running for Seattle Mayor. It is a pleasure to be here with all of you tonight. Little known fact about me, some of the first jobs that I had here in Seattle were right here in Ballard's Industrial District. I worked over at the Canal Boatyard back when Seattle Yacht Service was over there, and then over at the Chittenden Locks, painting and repairing boats. I worked over in Interbay, and every day I biked over the Ballard Bridge, and I never got tired of looking out over those ships at the Fisherman's Terminal. Seattle has changed enormously over the 27 years that I've lived here. But our working waterfront remains at the core of our city's economy and our identity. So as your next mayor, I look forward to working with all of you to ensure a bright future for our maritime, shipping, and manufacturing industries. Okay, let's get down to some real talk. So I intend to win this race, and if you look at our fundraising numbers, if you look at the polling, if you look at our endorsements, it's clear that we're running a very competitive campaign. Some people who don't want me elected are going to be saying a lot of things about me, including that I'm not the best candidate for business. So I want to set the record straight and talk about a couple of my priorities and connect the dots in a way that I think that sometimes we fail to do. So let's talk about homelessness and public safety. Right now, we are failing on homelessness. We have many, many more people sleeping unsheltered in our city today than ever before. And we have a lost shelter capacity every single year the current mayor has been in office. The shelter we have is 95% full. We have 2 homeless people in Seattle for every shelter bed. This failure to address the homelessness crisis has a very direct impact on our public safety problems. Think about it. You have thousands of people with nowhere to go. The city is chasing people around from one place to another and destabilizing them. This is dangerous because now instead of sleeping in a tent, you have someone sleeping in the doorway of your business, and maybe they're addicted to drugs, maybe they have a mental health crisis, and maybe they break your windows, maybe they're behaving aggressively toward your customers. I see this every single day on our public transit system. As your mayor, it will be my #1 priority to actually address and solve the homelessness crisis. And that means working with neighborhood business groups, that means working with our police department, that means working with service providers, not just downtown, but in neighborhoods throughout the city. That will be my #1 priority. I'm a coalition builder with a track record of getting big results, and I'm running for mayor because I love this city, and I know that we can do so much better. So I look forward to working with all of you as your next mayor to make progress that we can all be proud of. Thank you.